Amelia, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amelia. Happy birthday to you. Hello everyone, happy Christmas Eve, and my gift for you this year is my top 5 books of 2023. These are always my favorite videos, so I'm hoping that you will also enjoy this one, and I'm hoping to make it a bit cozy as well. Book number 5 is The Mid-Coast by Adam White. This is a perfect example of a book that I would not have heard of had I not gone to an independent bookstore, McLean & Eakin in Petoskey, Michigan, and I was basically hand-sold this book. It was a book I had not heard of before, so I'm super grateful. And since then, I've recommended it to loads of people, and I have not gotten it wrong a single time. The people that have read this have also absolutely loved it. The Mid-Coast basically centers around this family in this small, like, fishing sort of a town in Maine, and basically this couple, I think their names are Ed and Steph, they have just had kind of a rough life. Steph, I think, was like a high school dropout and a few other things. I think she got pregnant early, blah, 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 right? And then Ed has just been kind of doing like blue collar jobs, working with his hands, fishing, all this sort of stuff. So they're not the most well-off family, or so you would think. So the story starts off with this person coming back into town. I think his name is Andrew, and he is a high school English teacher, and he used to be friends with this couple, like when they were in school back in the day, like in high school and stuff, but he hasn't seen them for a really long time. And even though this family has this history of being more blue collar, all of a sudden they are filthy rich, and they are hosting this like wonderful, super posh summer party, and it's just like cool to reconnect, but also a bit weird. So Steph needs her husband for something, and Andrew goes looking for him, finds this guy inside, and he is looking through like a manila folder, which he quickly shuts as soon as the high school teacher Andrew walks into the room. They catch up for a hot second, and then Ed goes off to see what his wife wants, leaving Andrew alone with this manila folder. Like a good guest would, he snoops in the folder, and there are basically like crime reports and like images of like this car that's like just completely like burned up. And then all of a sudden everything stops, and you go back in time and you learn the history between these two guys, and you learn about how they became friends, how they got to know each other, and you slowly discover the why and the what behind the info in the manila folder that Andrew finds at the beginning of the book. But it's just so amazing how everything just stops, and you want to know more, but you can't, because now you have to go back and discover their history. It is absolutely amazing. I loved it. The ending was amazing. The whole book is amazing, and I highly recommend it. All right, guys, book number 4 is The Art of Libromancy, which has essentially changed my life as a reader and as someone who goes to loads of bookstores. It has basically made me really value independent bookstores more than I ever have before, and also really made me interested in reading more books by indie publishers, because it was through this book that I learned how all the 4 major publishing houses actually support Trump and his people by having imprints that support conservative views. And so even if you are just buying a certain book, you are supporting things that you feel are not okay in the world. And yeah, I feel that independent publishers also allow you to just hear from authors that you might not have heard of otherwise. You might not have access to their points of view because they are not as represented by mainstream publishers. A lot of the books that I have read by indie publishers have been absolutely amazing, and The Art of Libromancy just really takes you behind the scenes of what it's like to be an independent bookstore owner, and it shows you the behind the scenes process in the whole book industry. I think that it will completely change the way that you read books and the way that you shop for books. So book 3 is Maps of Our Spectacular Bodies by somebody, Mortimer. I don't have the book with me. That book was a book that I found at the perfect time for me, right when my mom's breast cancer was on my mind quite a bit. I did a full review of it, so I can link that below, but essentially it tells the story of a woman who is dying of breast cancer, and it covers her processing through that, but also really goes into her past and about all the relationships she's had, and about the relationship she had with her own mother, and then the relationship she has with her daughter. And so it's a mother and daughter story, a story about life and what the life means, and about death and what it means to be dying. And cancer has a voice in the book, which makes this absolutely beautiful. And as you go on in the book, you learn a lot more about the voice of cancer. And is it actually cancer, or is there a bit more to that voice? It kind of alternates perspectives, and the voice of cancer is used as a transition in between different parts of the book. In addition, it's the most artsy book I've ever read in my entire life. It uses a lot of different forms in a really unique way. So there's parts where she's journaling, and so it's in like journaling handwriting. There's parts where she is kind of spiraling, and so she'll have her words spiral just to kind of model that. But just as beautiful as the book is in print format is the audiobook. The audiobook is also beautiful, done by 2 narrators. And there's one for our main character who's dying of cancer, and another for the voice of cancer, which is more ominous and just more evil, I would say. Darker maybe is a better word. So yeah, beautiful, masterfully done. I am so grateful that I read that book. Welcome to the back seat of my parents' car. We have a car seat there for a baby, and a car seat there for a dog, and me in the middle. Hey guys, I am in the basement by the 90s couch and this 90s seagull painting to talk about book number 2. Now this book is basically thanks to Ann Novella, who told me about it, and it is called Orpheus Builds a Girl. Now this book is told in 2 perspectives and it alternates between them. So the first perspective is this doctor, and the second perspective is the sister of a patient of his. So the book starts basically with this sister describing how absolutely horrible this doctor is and how he ruined the lives of her entire family. And then the doctor is going on talking about his patient, this girl's sister, and just how wonderful she was and how he helped her and all this stuff. So obviously 2 very different viewpoints. So, you know, it's a bit ominous, but you're just kind of following these 2 perspectives, sharing the same story. And a bit in, it gets real weird real fast. That's really all I want to tell you about it, is that it's this doctor trying to care for this girl and trying to heal her. And obviously it did not work out too well because the sister is saying that he destroyed their lives. So that's the story. But I will say that when it gets real weird, real fast, just know that this is based on a true story. You can Google it later, not before, because I want you to be shocked and traumatized, just like I was. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm here from my parents' 90s basement with the mega big screen TV and the vertical blinds because I fell asleep and never filmed the last clip of my favorite book of the year last night. So my top favorite book of all of 23, no contest, like this book has stayed in the top position basically since I read it, which was quite early in the year, I do believe, and that is Reservoir by Livy Michael. So I like disturbing, well, not disturbing, I like unsettling psychological sort of things, and this is exactly that. So I also like strong, like educated women as well. So this book takes place at a psychology conference, and so our main character attends this conference. She is going to be presenting, she's a psychologist, and the whole purpose of the conference is to talk about at what age are children able to be held responsible for a crime they commit. It's a lot of neuroscience talking about brain development and, you know, at what age can you say that, yes, they actually intended to harm somebody or to do something. So that's the whole conference. Early on, when she's there, she runs into this guy and she never wanted to see him again, ever. The rest of her life, she could just live happily without ever seeing him again. And it almost puts you in the perspective of like almost like gaslighting the main character. Like, what the heck, what's wrong with this guy? Like, he seems perfectly fine. Like, why are you so triggered by him? And just very, very slowly and very masterfully over the course of the book, you slowly uncover why she never wanted to see him again in her entire life. And you also learn more about her, and you learn about the 2 of them through the lectures, through memories, through all this sort of stuff. And honestly, like, I love the psychology, right? I love the focus on children, and I also really appreciated just the flow of information and how you were just slowly, like drop by drop, being given more and more and more. And it's not until the very last sentence on the very last page that you are even given more information, and you're like, like mic drop, like done, like, oh my gosh. It's just like the perfect ending, because like, okay, you're starting to figure out what's going on. Okay, you kind of get it. Okay, oh, you definitely understand what's going on. And then like last sentence, bam, like you had no idea. Well, you might have had some idea, but like, yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So let me know if you have read any of the books that were in my top 10 list, or more specifically my top 5 list that is in this video. And If you haven't, let me know if any of them sound really interesting to you. And I would love to see videos of like your top 10, which I think most of you already have. But if you don't have a channel, first of all, you know, we have a new year coming up. Maybe you want to start a channel. It is like the thing that has literally changed my life. Like, it's not just a place to talk about books, it's a place to form amazing friendships. So there's that. So consider starting a channel. But if you don't have a channel, leave a comment below what were your top 10 or what were a few of your favorites or whatever, because I really want to hear from you guys as well and to learn more books that maybe I would not have discovered otherwise, or maybe I've heard about but wouldn't pick up unless somebody leaves me a comment being like, girl, you need to pick up this book. Anyway, have a wonderful Merry Christmas. I'm gonna go hang out with my family. We are having French toast at my brother's house and opening gifts, and then later going to a party. So I will see you guys maybe next year. I don't know, we'll see. Bye.